Why do we replay conversations in our head? Have you ever replayed a conversation hundreds of times? Not because it was important to the world, but because it felt important to you. Maybe it happened yesterday. Maybe it happened years ago. Yet somehow, the words are still there. The tone, the expression, the silence, the things you said, the things you wish you had said, the things you wish they had never said. The strange thing is that most conversations disappear. You forget them within hours, but a few refuse to leave. They keep returning. Late at night, during a quiet moment, while driving, while trying to sleep. As if your mind is pulling an old file from storage and forcing you to read it again. Why? Why does the brain do this? Why do some conversations end in reality but continue inside our heads? The answer begins with a simple fact. The human brain hates unfinished things. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect. When something feels incomplete, the brain keeps returning to it. A task, a question, a goal, a conversation. Anything that feels unresolved can become mentally sticky. The brain wants closure. It wants an ending. It wants certainty. But life rarely provides perfect endings. Most conversations don't end with complete understanding. Most arguments don't end with complete satisfaction. Most goodbyes don't end with complete peace. Instead, they end with uncertainty. And uncertainty is uncomfortable. So the mind keeps working, searching, replaying, analyzing, trying to solve a puzzle that may not have a solution. Think about how many times you've imagined saying something differently. Maybe if I had used different words. Maybe if I had explained myself better. Maybe if I had stayed quiet. Maybe if I had spoken up. The conversation becomes a movie, and your mind keeps rewriting the script, looking for a version where everything turns out differently. But there is another reason these conversations stay with us. Emotion. The brain does not remember everything equally. Emotion acts like a spotlight. The stronger the emotion, the stronger the memory. Embarrassment, regret, anger, shame, hope, love, fear. These emotions tell the brain, this matters. And once the brain decides something matters, it stores it more deeply. That is why you can forget what you ate 3 weeks ago. But remember a sentence someone said 10 years ago. Not because the sentence was objectively important, but because it created a strong emotional response. And emotion leaves fingerprints on memory. The problem is that memory is not a recording. Most people imagine memory as a video archive, as if the brain stores events exactly as they happened. But that is not how memory works. Memory is reconstruction. Every time you remember something, you rebuild it. You fill in gaps. You interpret details. You attach new emotions. And over time, the memory can become very different from the original event. This means the conversation you replay today may not even be the conversation that actually happened. It may be a version that has been edited hundreds of times by your own mind. Each replay changes it slightly. Each emotion reshapes it. Each regret rewrites it. And yet we trust these memories completely. We assume our version is accurate. We assume our interpretation is correct. But often we are arguing with a story that has changed many times since it first occurred. Now please subscribe and hit the like button so we can continue. There is another reason conversations stay alive inside us: identity. Human beings care deeply about how they are seen. We want to be understood. We want to be respected. We want to feel that our words matter. When a conversation threatens that identity, the mind pays attention. If someone misunderstood you, you will replay it. If someone judged you unfairly, you will replay it. If someone embarrassed you, you will replay it. If someone made you question yourself, you will replay it. Because the conversation is no longer about words. It becomes about who you are. And anything connected to identity gains power. This is why a random stranger's comment can stay with someone for years. Not because the comment was wise, not because it was true, but because it touched something vulnerable, something personal, something unresolved. The brain keeps returning to it, trying to protect the self, trying to defend the self, trying to make sense of what happened. Sometimes we replay conversations because we are looking for closure, but closure is a strange thing. Many people believe closure comes from another person, an explanation, an apology, an answer, but often those things never arrive. The apology never comes. The explanation never appears. The answer remains unknown. And if your peace depends on receiving those things, you can remain trapped for years, because you are waiting for someone else to finish a chapter inside your mind. Yet some of the most peaceful people learn something important. Closure is not always something you receive. Sometimes it is something you create. You decide that the conversation is over. You decide that the answer is enough. You decide that the lesson has been learned. And you allow yourself to move forward, not because everything was resolved, but because continuing to replay it is no longer helping. This does not mean forgetting. It does not mean pretending it never happened. It means accepting reality. The conversation happened. The words were spoken. The moment passed. Nothing can change that. The only thing still changing is your relationship with the memory. And that relationship is under your control. There is a strange habit many people have. They continue arguing with people who are no longer present. Inside their minds, they win debates, deliver perfect responses, explain themselves flawlessly, finally say the thing they should have said years ago. But no matter how many times they win these imaginary arguments, nothing changes. The other person never hears them. The past never changes. The conversation remains exactly where it happened. Only the suffering continues. And maybe that is the lesson. Not every conversation deserves another replay. Not every memory deserves another trial. Not every mistake deserves another punishment. Sometimes growth means accepting that the conversation ended exactly as it did, and allowing yourself to leave the room too. Because life is happening now. Not inside an old argument. Not inside a forgotten misunderstanding. Not inside a memory from years ago. Now. And every minute spent reliving a conversation is a minute taken from the life that is actually unfolding in front of you. Perhaps the goal was never to find the perfect response. Perhaps the goal was to learn from the conversation and continue forward. To take the lesson without carrying the weight. To remember without becoming trapped. To understand without obsessing. Because eventually every conversation becomes part of the past. And the people who find peace are not the ones who found perfect endings. They are the ones who stopped demanding them. The conversation happened. The lesson remains. And maybe that is enough.